All right. So we're going to look at a tweet by Stephen Frost, which is the head of production for the Mortal Kombat trilogy, and of course also at Digital Eclipse, which is the studio behind bringing us this wonderful cake of Mortal Kombat greatness. Let's check this out. Now I'm in bed, right? I'm just relaxing. It's like almost 6 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm a bit of a night owl though. I was playing on my Switch, playing some Grand Blue, watching Sharp, which is a TV series that came out in the 90s. It's a British show based on the British versus, France and the Napoleonic era. So I'm just chilling in my dad vibe, doing what I'm doing. And this popped up, right? This post popped up. And this is by Stephen Frost. And it says here, if there's one consistent fact about the internet, is that you shouldn't always believe what you read or see, even if multiple people state it as fact. Always do your own research, or at least take things with a bit of skepticism until you have real proof. Like, if I could like this tweet multiple times, I would. Right? One of the things, like people like me or they don't like me, and that's like with every single person on the internet, right? But when you put yourself out there, there's always going to be that level of a bit more of a harsher criticism, because you become a voice whether people like it or not, right? One of the things that I've done since the very beginning is make sure with absolute certainty that I am not claiming something to be true. I am not putting content out there and claiming it as fact without showing anything or whatever. This is what I do, right? It's up to everyone whether they believe me or not. But what makes part of that process a bit easier for people to digest is when you show a source. It's as simple as that, right? Now, I know there's obviously people in the industry who are working on making sure that they don't burn any bridges and stuff like that, and that's perfectly fine too. I completely understand that. But I, like many of you out there, are very excited about Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection coming out. I haven't been this excited about MK in a really long time. A really long time. I mean, waking up every day excited to see what brand new news or something has come out about this collection. This is very near and dear to my heart. I can pinpoint all the memories with all of the 2D MK games, where I was living, where I was playing it, what friends did I have over, what types of matches did I have, certain game nights. These games are really special to me, right? And I'm sure they're special to a whole bunch of other people out there. And one of the things that I really love about this whole process is the excitement around the secrets. Now, I was talking to someone about this today. Actually, I was talking to my son about it, right? In regards to what secrets could they have. Well, we know all the secrets are going to be available to us. I mean, just by touching a button every game. We don't have to worry about inputting a code anymore if we don't want to, right? So that's not a secret. They've already told us that. Secret interviews, perhaps, maybe, but I don't think that's what people are really thinking of when we're thinking of secrets. We're thinking of the game reveals, right? What secret game reveals? Because from day one, they've made it very purposeful that there were more games to be announced coming out. Now, there has been a lot of information being thrown around and whatnot of absolute declarations, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, it means that when you look at a thumbnail, when you listen to content of the video or the title, it is with absolute certainty that when you're absorbing this content, right, that it is a fact. Whether what they're saying is a fact, right? Now, if you find an article, or just like what we do here, I post a tweet or a news article or a 4chan page or something like that. The reason why you show a source, whatever it is so that way the person that is divulging the information, aka the source, is held accountable. Not in a bad way, not in a negative way, not wrapped over the knuckles type shit. I just simply mean that, you know, you're not coming out here going, yeah, this is happening and this isn't happening. It's like, well, where'd you hear that? And they say, well, I spoke to some people. And that's not to say that they're lying. I'm not saying that these people are lying either. What I'm saying, though, is that obviously, as my mate Dragoon has said before, sometimes he just wants the milk straight from the cow, right? And on this channel, I like to make sure, considering I don't have those connections, I don't go to events and stuff like that because of my anxiety and shit like that. Not to mention, I also live in fucking Australia, right? So I don't do that sort of thing, and it's very difficult for me. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, also, I like to come from the position of the customer first, rather than, sort of like trying to like expand my sort of connections horizon, if that makes sense. Like, because at the end of the day, like, I don't want my objectivity to be tainted by those I know, right? I always want to remain objective, and I don't want to start playing favorites, because at the end of the day, I've got to still look at this thing and go, okay, I'm a huge MK fan. I'm really excited about this. However, is this a product worthy of my money? Completely, right? That's how I approach all games. Okay. So this tweet is just an absolute banger as far as I'm concerned. It is this has been absolutely necessary for this tweet to come out, to be perfectly honest, because since Evo, there's been a lot of things going up and down, right? I had a good chat, like I said the other day. I had a great chat with Headlocks. We had a first chat for the first time. It was awesome. He's a really nice guy. And a lot of what he can back this stuff up, right? So the dude's on the level. But up until that point, I hadn't talked to him, right? And I can understand, like, he obviously, found it upsetting that I was questioning his integrity. But that's not, and my apologies for that, but that's not my intent. Because over here, I simply just be like, well, I provide milk from the cow, right? I don't care where the milk's, like, I don't care where it's coming from. I'll always show it, because then that way, and this is actually a tip for anyone out there, what it does is it means that you are not held accountable for spreading false information, right? You'll notice that when I cover something like the MK4 PlayStation 1, I covered the article, I show the article, I question mark in the title, question mark in the thumbnail. I do that because a question mark can mean one thing and an exclamation mark can mean another, right? We don't have absolutes, all right? We don't have absolutes whatsoever, all right? And I need to be 100% certain, 100%, right, that what we're getting is accurate. And if it's not accurate, but I want to talk about it, I'm still going to show it, so that way you guys can go, oh, okay, this is where he's got this, this content from. He's sharing his opinion on it, right? And for YouTubers out there, you got to be very. This is my advice. Is that way you completely absolve yourself from being a perpetrator for pushing forward information that is inaccurate or anything else, right? You can say, oh, listen, if this doesn't work out, I'm just talking about it, right? But this is where it is. I show you, and that's it. That's how I've been doing my business here on this channel since day one. And I've always done it in previous channels as well that have been involved with bringing news. Because that's what I do a lot here. I bring news, right? Sure, I'll do some gameplay, and I've covered a lot of reviews as well. It's not the main staple viewership of the channel, but what I love doing about the reviews is it's building up an archive. So that way, over time, you can go into the PlayStation 1, playlist and see all fighting games that have ever come out for the PlayStation 1. That's my goal, to have every playlist for all platforms. So that way people can get a comprehensive look with some really nice gameplay, and just my thoughts on what I'm sharing with it, right? There are obviously other channels out there that get like way more viewership when they cover like things like Mugen and a lot of these classic games, because they built their channels like that from day one. I was kind of doing a hybrid of everything within the MK space, but most of it came from like bringing the latest news, sharing my opinion on stuff, calling out stuff I wasn't liking and things like that. And that's fine, that's what I do. But behind the scenes, you guys, if you have noticed, yeah, I've been building up that archive. I've been going back and fixing up my thumbnails to make them look more in line with, you know, a little bit more presentable and professional, and a little bit more easy on the eye. But that's what I do on this channel. I try and make sure that you guys know where I stand, you know, and no disrespect to anyone out there who are friends of mine, or who I've just recently chatted to in any capacity in regards to this sort of stuff, because it felt like there was a certain guy that started with S that put out an interview basically declaring as fact, right? And that's why, before I finalize this tweet, I'll read it out again. If there's one consistent fact about the internet, is that you shouldn't always believe what you read or see, even if multiple people state it as fact. Always do your own research, or at least take things with a bit of skepticism until you have real proof. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what's my real proof? What do I determine real proof? Well, an official announcement from, I would accept that 100% from Stephen. I don't know Dan all that well. He seems like an absolutely splendid fellow. Very, very excitable. He's just a happy dude. I love it. He's got great energy. But by God, he's like a leaky boat, right? Like there's so many holes. I'm trying to say, what, he's saying this over here, saying this over there, right? And that's Dan, right? And that's fine. Like, again, I don't know, you know, we'll cover it, but I always go, oh, okay. Stephen, 100%, because I've seen him in interviews. I've seen him deflect, you know, and I've seen him outright disprove stuff like no 3D era, no MK9, right? So what he's doing there is he's saying, no, this stuff is absolutely not going to be done, right? We're telling a story here. We've got to start here. But as far as the reveals go, like in the IGN interview, he's like, well, just you know, right, he's just instant body block on that one, right? And I love that. You know why I love that? Because I don't want shit spoiled. I will accept an official announcement either through him, through the official NetherRealm page, or YouTube channel, or Mortal Kombat channel, or digital clips. That's where I'm at. That's what I consider official. Everything else is basically speculation and stuff that I'll talk about, you know, and go, okay, all right, maybe, maybe not, you know, and do some speculative theory crafting around what could be coming out. And in the end, in a few months, we're going to know everything anyway, right? But in the meantime, it's all very exciting, and I love this build-up. This excitement, this build-up for MK is such a joy, and I've missed it. This is that part of it's the journey, you know, thing that I'm really digging here. And I really hope, and I'm going to post this link in the description, and I'd like all you guys to go share, well, if you don't have to, you don't have to share thoughts. But if you're not following Stephen, I highly recommend you do, because it'll be his account, or Digital Eclipse account, or Mortal Kombat account, and of course, obviously on YouTube official channels as well. And of course, the Xbox announcement coming as well. These are the official proof that I accept as 100% proof of what's going to be obviously, you know, coming out, right? Because it's an official capacity, and that's how I approach it. That's how I approach it, right? Because so I'm going to tell you a story, right? I think this is the reason why I was speaking to Headlock the other day, right? And please go check out his content. He does great streams every day. He goes, what do you think? He goes, oh, and he's kind of right, but he's also, I didn't realize this until I was doing this video right now. He goes, oh, is the reason why you sort of made the video about him, like sort of questioning the source, was because of shin fits. And I thought, I think I did say to him, I think I said, yeah, you know, it probably didn't help, right? 100%. You know, you get primed, and then you go off that primer. You're not, you know, you don't sort of like settle back down and sort of reevaluate. But a long time ago, and I can prove this because I've still got the files. And I say this because if you look online, there's a website or something called Mortal Kombat Australia. But that is not the first official version of what was called Mortal Kombat Australia. Total MK will back me up on this. Back in the day, and I mean back in the day, right? Me and a mate of mine, well, I haven't spoken to him in a long time because he goes like AWOL, I don't know, he might be a Navy SEAL or something, right? We did a website called Mortal Kombat Australia, right? I did the design of the website. I still got the files. So I can show everyone. It's 100%. And he ran the forum. And he apparently had contact with people at Midway and was getting information. Now, this was a time when Mortal Kombat Deception was coming out and then came out. And so we were covering news articles and posting them, you know, about all the stuff that was coming out, about Deception, interviews, leaks, all sorts of stuff, right? Anyway, once Deception came out, obviously there was no Reptile, and I really was hoping Reptile would be in it. I don't know why. And there was no evidence whatsoever that Reptile was in the game outside of seeing him in the Living Forest in Outworld in the Conquest mode, right? Walking around, right? And you go up and smack him around and he goes, "Leave me be," right? This guy that I did the website with lied and said that there was definitive evidence that Reptile was in the game and he was a secret character unlocked. Right? Now, I was a lot younger back then, right? We're talking Deception, right? So take off how many years off 47, right? And I didn't question him on his legitimacy because A, he was a friend. B, he was able to back up everything else that he had supplied information-wise to me. So the article went up, right? Got posted. Drove, I mean, a metric fuck ton of traffic to the website. Like 100% to the website. You know, we were like a major source. And it ended up being a lie. Right? Because the internet was not what it was back then. You know, the flow of information, while existed, was nowhere near as quick or as fast. We didn't have social media. Right? So people would just basically get onto a search engine or go to their favorite, you know, themed websites. You know, so you'd know all the MK websites, mk5.org, you know, Total MK, obviously our website, MK Secrets, and you know, all the big ones out there, right, that we would go to. And of course, you go there and you see the news page, and suddenly, secret character Reptile. This fucking guy lied because he wanted, you know, to be the big Kahuna website. And since that day, I have always been held information in reserve till it can be verified. All right? Or if I cover something, okay, because he provided no evidence, but I just went, oh, okay, well, why would my friend lie to me? Turns out he lied about a lot of stuff once it all came out, you know, and it wasn't just me he was doing it to. He was lied to a lot of people. Serial liar, right? So since then, I have made absolutely sure that when I cover something, I show where I got it from. I can share my opinions on it, whether I think it's true or not, or this or that. But I 100% will always give the milk, because I'm not being caught again. I'm not being fucking lied to about something I love. Somebody took advantage of my hype and my excitement over Mortal Kombat and took that and used that to further his own personal agendas for his own site, for his own forum. Right? So I will never be caught with that again. Ever. Right? That's why I'm very pedantic in title, thumbnail, content in the video. I'm always like that. I've been like that ever since, because somebody took advantage of my excitement, my hype, you know, and my love of MK, and let me believe that this was real. His friend, right? His friend. He let his friend believe this shit was real. And it's not like it's a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It's not like he lied about, you know, something like serious. But he lied, and he let me believe it, right? And he let then everyone else believe it. And all credibility that man had, he lost because he lied. Because he had no evidence. And because he was my friend, I didn't think, well, why would he lie? Why would he lie to me? Right? We built this site together. We're good mates. We've hung out a lot. You know? I learned my lesson. So, you know, that's why, even if it seems a little harsh, and I mean no disrespect with people, is that I kind of need a little bit more. You know, I can take people at their word and go, okay, look, well, you know, people, all right, you don't have an, you know, you know, part of having trust is also having a bit of faith, but I'm, you know, at my root DNA level, I'm like, if somebody goes, oh yeah, this is happening, and I'm like, okay, who said it? All right, can you prove that? Like that's kind of how my brain works. Right? Because it's very easy in this day and age, in anything, to simply just jump in and believe shit because your emotional state is desperate to have it confirmed so you can go, yeah, I was right. It's no, that's just emotional suicide as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Great tweet. And I'll post a link in the description, and I will catch you guys next time. See you.